Hi, I'm Carrie Adams, and you're listening to Carrie's Connoisseurs, coming to you from Solid Gold Podcasts. Here we talk to the movers and shakers, the drinkers, the dreamers, and all the people who make it happen in the liquor and luxury industries from around the world. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Carrie's Connoisseurs. It seems like forever that I haven't done a podcast. I'm sorry. It's festive season, and we're busy and we're running, and this is my favorite happy space. You know that. But I got a special opportunity today. I've got Nico Walters in the studio with me. Nico, hi.
Hi, Carrie.
Thank you for coming all the way. Nico is the viticulturalist at Quoin Rock Wine Estate in Stellenbosch. And I don't know who or hasn't been looking or taking notice, but during the last sort of 12 months, Quoin Rock has embarked upon a trajectory of monumental proportions. Everywhere I look, I see Quoin Rock. Everywhere I taste Quoin Rock. Every time there's an award being handed out, it's seemingly going to one of the wines from Quoin Rock. And so I thought, I've got my chance. He's up in Johannesburg. He is part of the brains behind this fantastic property in Stellenbosch. So we're just going to talk to him and find out everything we need to know about Quoin Rock. So Nico, I nearly called you Walter again. Maybe I must just call you Walter. His surname is Walters.
You welcome.
You don't mind if I call you Walter every now and again? You can call me Adams every now and again if you'd like. Thank you for coming. Why are you here?
We are on a bit of a wine promotion tour. So I had a very exciting visit to Soweto last night.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. They don't let me loose off the farm that often.
Have you been to Soweto before?
Yes, in the good old days when we weren't that welcome. So it's my first time back.
Yes.
And what a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed it. I love the consumer, interested in wine, focused on good quality wine.
Yes.
And willing to pay for it. So, no, great success we had last night.
Fantastic. So, little bit of a background on Nico. Nico was the viticulturalist. Now, you know me, I love viticulture. It's my love language, actually. I love wine, but viticulture is the love language part. And Nico was the viticulturalist. You went to Elsenburg, did you?
Yeah.
Studied enology and viticulture, I'm quite sure, both of them.
Just viticulture was my focus.
You weren't clever enough for the enology, but...
No, from the start, I made a conscious decision. I want to be a viticulturist. I went to university first.
Okay.
Studied something totally different.
What?
Public and Development Administration. My father was a lecturer at the university, so I could study for free.
Okay.
So I spent some time, got my degree, and then decided...
What kind of a degree is that? Public and what?
It's working with NGOs, development projects, things like that.
So it's like a bullshit degree, which is why I don't know what it is.
Fair enough.
I mean, what are we going to do with that?
I actually use it a lot on the farm.
Do you?
Yes, especially from a training perspective. It helps me a lot. And I mean, everybody on the farm is one big family.
Yes.
And there's a lot of socioeconomic issues still we resolve. And I use it a lot for that.
Okay, good. So you did that and then decided
Elsenburg.
that you wanted to be a viticulturist. Why?
Yes.
Well, you're still in born and bred, aren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while I was studying, I stayed up in Jonkershoek. And I could stay for free, but I had to tend the little smallholding.
You see, this is where that white privilege story comes from. I'm just telling you, I've never been allowed to stay for free anywhere.
I had to work for it. I tended horses, did the irrigation.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's not entirely free, hey?
No, I traded lodging for work. And I just then finally realized.
Where in the Jonkershoek? You're not allowed to move your chair like that all the time. Can you tell? my engineer is staring at you like can't believe.
I'm sorry. Oude Nectar.
Okay, I know exactly.
Yeah, so it's a little portion.
So pretty.
That Una van der Spy had. The Fred Gabler had a little portion of that, and I stayed on his property.
How gorgeous. And you
No, it was
went to
fantastic.
Elsenburg for 4 years, hey?
Two. Yeah.
Oh, well, you had an undergrad already, hey?
Yeah.
So you studied your viticulture and then went straight to Rustenburg.
No, I didn't. That's the interesting thing.
Where did you go?
I went to Tilburg and actually worked on a really big property, 40 hectares of vineyard and 200 hectares of fruit.
Wow.
So it was a fruit focus, and I'm so glad I did, because
Gives you wonderful insights, hey?
way back in the old days, fruit already had a precision farming focus to a large degree, determining fruit size by removing flowers, fruit, and
Pruning.
counting,
Yeah.
harvesting 3-4 times, that type of a thing. So after 3 years in Tilburg, I moved to Rustenburg.
I love Tilburg. It's a beautiful place. It's
Beautiful
hot as
place.
hell.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortably hot in the summertime, but it's a lovely place, isn't it?
It is. And to apply that precision focus on viticulture helped a lot. It gave us a head start.
Well, contrary to popular belief, grapes are actually fruit. You know, you'd never think so with all the poo-pah that goes around wine farming. It's actually fruit farming at the end of the day, isn't it?
It is. And
it needs the same precision.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So you went from Tilburg to Rustenburg.
To Rustenburg, yes.
Rustenburg is one of my favorite places in the Cape Winelands. I love that farm. It's absolutely beautiful. The Barlow family are wine farm royalty, really.
Yeah.
Simon and his family are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And they made some gorgeous wines.
We did. And I got a lot of exposure and the opportunity to work with some really, really good mentors. So I learned a lot.
Old vines, and I'm sure planting new vines. Do you know, when I came back to live in this country and I came back into the wine industry here, Rustenburg was one of my favorite places. And I think I'm correct in saying that when you drive into Rustenburg, I think it's on the right-hand side. I always used to call it Five Shoulders. It was the Five Soldiers Chardonnay.
Yes.
One of my favorite Chardonnays ever. I think the vineyard is just on the right as you're driving up the driveway towards the winery.
No, you have to go past the winery.
You go past the winery.
And then on the slopes.
Is it on the slopes?
Yes, you have the Five
It's a long
Soldier
time ago
pine.
now. It's the
Those
five shoulders, yeah.
Yeah, the stone pines and then the Chardonnay.
It's a
vineyard.
beautiful farm. And you were there
Stunning
for
terroir.
13 years,
13 years, yeah.
Did you get to learn planting in Ida's Valley? I mean, did you have to apply planting techniques, trellising, harvesting, obviously all the things that go with it? Did you have a mentor for that, or were you allowed to go wild with your own sort of free spirit?
No, that I specifically mentioned the mentorship because that was really important initially. Kevin Watt
I know Kevin Watt.
was on Rustenburg in those days as well.
Probably one of our most famous viticulturists in South Africa.
A really good mentor. I learned a lot from him. And then Phil Fries. We used
Another
Phil Fries.
absolute icon.
Exactly.
Yes.
So with those guys around, I mean, you learn a lot, and then you learn how to apply and start doing your own thing with those basic techniques, which I did over the years. Started developing my own little.
Well, of course, I knew Rustenburg when I said to you earlier, Etienne Lariche was actually the wine farmer, the winemaker there.
Yes.
And then you reminded me of Rod Easthope. I'd forgotten about him.
Yeah.
And then our darling Adi Badenhorst, who
Yes, I started
flew in
with
from
Adi.
Madtown and came and took over the cellar. He's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful space to cut your teeth. And then you went around the corner, over the mountain to Quoin Rock, which is an equally beautiful property.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's magnificent. It's one of my favorites. It's very close to my heart. As I was saying to you earlier, Dave King is a good friend of mine, and he had a very unhappy sort of checkered background with Quoin Rock. It's something that we won't even discuss. We'll rather move on to the very happy space that Quoin Rock finds itself in right now.
Yes.
With owner Dennis, and I can never pronounce his wife's name. She's beautiful. What?
Julia.
She's like a Ukrainian Julia. So
yes.
So it's Julia.
I say Julia.
She is Julia. Really, we can call her Julia. She won't mind.
Yeah.
So Dennis and Julia Gardek have bought that property, and the devotion to excellence and the attention to detail is nothing short of miraculous that I see going on there.
When I moved to Quoin Rock, Dennis's father, Vitaly, is absolutely passionate about wine as well. And it was I felt like a kid under a Christmas tree, Christmas morning. No money and effort was spared from the start.
Yes.
And the nice thing was that they immediately realized that the focus should be on the vineyards initially.
I know. It's such it's a win that. That's a, do pass go, do collect 2,000 and come back again tomorrow if you need to. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Most of these new owners build the gate and
I know.
paint the walls, and then there's that you have to go back. Where if you start in the vineyards, get the vineyards fixed, and we put a lot of effort into fixing the vineyards. The framework was there.
Yes.
We had to do a lot of new plantings.
Yeah.
Fix the dams.
And I think there was also quite a lot of what's the word? I don't want to say degradation, but I think there was quite a lot of neglect. Because of the farm's history, it was under the curatorship of SARS for quite a long time.
Too long.
And nothing happens when that happens, So then you've got to get in there and put your fingers in the dikes while you actually try and reinvent what was supposed to be there in the first place. So you've obviously done that really, really successfully. How big is the farm, first of all, in total?
400 hectares.
That's big.
It's big. And
how much planted under vineyard?
80 hectares total, but that's including the Agallas property as well.
Oh,
that
okay.
we haven't mentioned yet.
Yes, we'll get to Agallas.
But, so 70 hectares on the Quoin Rock Knorrook portion. I talk about the Knorrook Valley. I farm it as a whole.
Oh, so anybody who knows me just knows that I'm in love with Knorrook, and I know it's the most unromantic name. Who in their right mind would call their farm Knorrook? I mean, I don't know Afrikaans very well, but I do know that if somebody says to you, stop being an old knor, I know that that's not a good thing. I don't know what a knor is. Do you?
Knor
Can
is
you
like
say?
It's like a growl.
Oh, so it's like an old Grumpelstiltskin.
No, in the old days you had can you remember the Cape lion that is
the wind?
No, there was a Cape lion. It's extinct now.
I think that was a figment of the Afrikaner's imagination.
No, there were, and there's still leopards.
Oh, leopards! I know there's mountain leopard. So is that where the Knorr comes from?
Yeah, and then somebody told me the other day it's the wind howling through there.
I think it's the wind howling through that valley.
Which is quite a challenge on a good day. Because
I know, all the vines are hanging onto their trellises.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? Anybody who hasn't tasted Knorrook wine has done themselves a disservice. Go to the shops as soon as you've watched this podcast, and buy Knorrook. So there are two specifics that you need to know about. The one is the Chenin Blanc.
Yes.
That Knorrook Chenin Blanc is one of the best Chenin Blancs in the country, I think.
I agree with you. And look, that vineyard is just so special.
How old is it? Is it part of the Old Vines
Yeah,
project?
it's part of the Old
So
Vines
what's it,
project.
40 years or something?
It's 44 years now.
Yeah. 44 is an angel number, you know.
Yes, and what's also so special about it, it's 10 hectares.
That's nice. I hope you don't sell it to anybody.
No, we try and use everything ourselves.
Yes. Do you know what I want you to do with whatever you've got left over from there?
Yes.
Sticky wine.
We
Can we not just infect it with some botrytis?
That's one of my pet projects. We do one with Sauvignon Blanc.
I know, and it's bloody delicious. But I want a botrytis Chenin from Quoin Rock. Can you imagine how delicious it would be?
The boss is going to hear this, and he's going to.
Dennis doesn't know what's coming for him.
He's going to implement it immediately because he loves it. It's not a bad idea. Because that vineyard will work really well with it, because it's the old lady on the farm. So 44 years old, deep-rooted, no irrigation, it's dry land vineyard.
Sounds like me.
But beautifully balanced. And with the age, each vine has developed its own structure, and each vine has a beauty of its own. It's living art. It's living sculptures.
It is absolutely extraordinary, and I really think that we've got to. Do you get botrytis there?
No.
So we can always make a plan, though.
The frustration with botrytis here is there's botrytis and all the other weird and wonderful diseases as well. So you have to really select. What I like to do is make a straw wine.
That's what I say. We can always make a plan.
Yes, because that's more controlled environment that you make the wine in, and it works really well.
Well, that's definitely on the list for Videk. We're going to have to tell him the bad news. Tonight we'll tell him at dinner, I think.
Okay.
So that's that. So there's Quoin Rock, which we're all over the place because I get too excited about Quoin Rock. But your plan with the farm, tell everybody what the plan is with the farm, because I think that there is a whole strategy that's afoot. I know you've got the wines separate at the moment, the Quoin Rock wines and the Quoin Rock wines.
Yes.
Are labelled under two separate labels.
Yes.
What is the sort of 5-year plan on both of them, really? What's the vision?
My vision.
Okay.
Born and bred in Stellenbosch, you tend to have an inherent respect for the old farms. I call it the first growths.
They are, really.
So your Meerlust, Kanonkop, Rustenburg.
Rust and Vrede.
So to me, Quoin Rock has always been this sleeping giant first growth. And from the start, I just had the previous owners, 5 generations. So you need to respect that. There's a heritage to it.
Beautiful.
So now I'm answering the Quoin Rock name thing as well, because I like it. And I think I saw it last night in Soweto as well. You struggle with the name, but it's nice. Exactly.
It's so hard to say.
Exactly. But that heritage, I think, needs to be preserved. So to me, it's very important that we carry on with the Quoin Rock legacy and keep the brand. And the Quoin Rock is different style. That's a very manicured, sophisticated focus on the wines. And with Quoin Rock, we try to be more terroir-driven, terroir expression. If you taste the Cabernet, I want you to taste Simonsburg. And that's why it's a single varietal also, because Simonsburg's Cabernet country.
Well, I've got this thing, to interrupt you for a minute. You know how the whole world pays millions for Super Tuscans?
Yes.
I want to establish Super Stellenbosch. Because it honestly is, if you travel the winelands of the world, Stellenbosch definitely definitely packs a punch as one of the premium Cabernet producers in the world.
I agree.
I think we need to make a Super Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think that your Quoin Rock Cabernet, I just love that wine. I really love it.
Thank you very much. I love it because of that.
Typicity. It is.
Yes.
Super Stellenbosch.
Yes.
The end. That's what it is.
And the other part of it is because the vines almost look after themselves. And in the cellar, there's more of a minimum intervention focus. You are able to produce the wine slightly cheaper. So with...
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Can you imagine Dennis now? Everybody's going to come and say, we think we should be able to get this one a bit cheaper.
At the price point it is at the moment. That's what I mean. It's accessible.
At a reasonable price.
A reasonable price. So I want that to be the volume focus. And Quoin Rock can be more of a niche product. Focused more on the luxury market, if I can put it that way.
Now, when you said that there's 70-odd hectares under vine, is that Quoin Rock and Quoin Rock together?
Together, yes.
And the bulk of it is Quoin Rock?
Bulk actually at this stage is
Quoin Rock.
Quoin Rock. I'm busy with replanting and restructuring on the Quoin Rock side. And I have a few different eggs in the basket with 30 hectares of almonds and cattle roaming around.
That's nice.
Yeah, all the open land we made into fences now.
Okay.
And just letting cattle roam around and
so nice for the soil.
Exactly. Get the soil structure built up again.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So at Quoin Rock, tell everybody, what have we got? I know we've got a Chenin Blanc. I know we've got a Cabernet. What else is there?
Vines on the farm. We
bottles. What's in the bottles? What can we buy with a Quoin Rock label?
Absolute focus. We have a Quoin Rock Cabernet and a Quoin Rock Chenin Blanc, and that's it.
He looks so proud. Can you see how proud? You're so proud of that one, aren't you?
I am.
And so you should be.
It's my pet project.
Okay.
And absolute focus, we have this really special vineyard, and I want to exploit that, focus just on that, specialize just in that. So I don't want to dilute what we have with introducing some other...
Yeah. No, I think you've got enough SKUs anyway.
Yes.
So your sticky wine comes from Quoin Rock,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So we move over the road from Quoin Rock to Quoin Rock, where you're going to find the most, what should we call it? Salubrious space. There's a restaurant there called
Gate. Fine dining at its
very
best.
fine dining, very beautiful, very sought after, full a lot, hard to get into, unless you know Nico or Dennis or Wayne or Christopher or somebody fancy.
Yeah. Join the club.
How much is it going to cost me to join the club?
No.
Make a big number. He's very slow. Dennis would have been very impressed if you said it's 3,000 Rand a month.
And
you can come whenever you like.
But we do have a club, and if you're part of the club, then access to the restaurant, special treatment on the farm, and as part of the package.
And it really is special. It's extraordinarily special for anybody who hasn't been there. Go online. They've got a beautiful website. You can have a little tongue tip test online, and then you can make sure you get there. So when we get over the road to the Quoin Rock farm, you have got. And you don't buy in any grapes, hey?
No.
You use all your own grapes?
Own grapes. The only grapes we buy in is Pinot Noir for the MCC. And there's a specific reason for that. I firmly believe you plant what works on your 100%. Specific terroir.
Pinot Noir doesn't do well in Stellenbosch?
No, it doesn't. So we buy in some Pinot Noir. Yeah, the rest is all owned.
So speaking
grapes.
about Pinot
Yes.
Noir and sparkling,
Yes.
I think the main reason for you being in Johannesburg at the moment is because Quoin Rock have launched a new product called Festive.
Yeah.
And it's a bubbly. I haven't tasted it yet, but I'm going to taste it tonight. And is it Chardonnay Pinot Noir exclusively?
Yes.
2 years on the lees about?
Yes.
Have you made it?
Made it in the vineyards, yes.
Do you ever fruttle in the cellar and irritate Skulk and Peter or not?
We have such a fantastic relationship that I'm actually invited into the cellar on a regular basis to taste, benchmark, and then you get the opportunity to go back to the vineyards, fix what needs fixing, improve. So, no, I'm exposed constantly, and we have a really good relationship.
Yes, I know.
Because you need to work together.
Yeah.
You cannot just dump the grapes in front of the cellar and then think job's done.
So in terms of your viticultural practices, are you doing anything new, different that we need to know about that nobody else might be doing? Or are they all state secrets?
State secrets.
Okay. Do you pick at night?
No.
Okay.
Donker werk is konkelwerk.
I do agree.
We have a very specific focus on actually, we handpick and we physically sort while we're picking.
Yeah.
So if somebody picks a bunch and there's a bad berry on, they'll actually take it off before.
In the vineyard.
In the vineyard. So that to me is much more of a quality advantage than picking.
And then spending hours on a sorting table, yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, if your grapes have heated up, it will only start cooling down early morning in any case. So, no, I prefer
early morning picking.
Yeah, absolute focus on that and sorting in the vineyards. To the extent that we don't need sorting tables.
Don't you use them at all?
No.
That's interesting.
I have a philosophy around that as well, where beauty is flawed. Perfection is not beauty. And coming back to the knork again, you need complexity in a wine, and to sort berries to an extent that they're all 100% the same. I think you take out a bit of complexity, character, and
it's quite nice to have the odd wrinkle every now and again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or laughter line, maybe.
Yeah. Perfection is boring.
I don't know. We strive for it. Hey? I wouldn't know because I've never achieved it, but but we do strive for it.
No, always.
I think in the striving thereof, you actually do up the game. Yeah. But I don't think anything's perfect at the end of the day, is it? Maybe a dog. A dog's perfect.
My dog is most definitely not perfect, and I love him. I love him to bits.
Even if he's not, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
No, he's a perfect companion.
He's perfect in every way, let me tell you.
But his quirks makes him interesting. That's what I'm trying to say.
And even more perfect. Yes. So that's the thing. The bumps and warts make it sometimes more endearing than it would be otherwise.
100%.
So do you have an optimum age, climate, picking time? What are your optimum? If I said to you, Nico, I want you to produce as close to perfect a red blend for me as possible. I'm Dennis Videk,
yeah.
I own this place. I want as near as damn it perfect Bordeaux style blend from Quoin Rock, because those are the grapes that should be flourishing in that specific area.
Agreed.
We know that.
Yes.
And we know what your soils are. We know you've got all the right stuff to make it happen.
Yes.
Give us a recipe that said if I was going to make the perfect chiffon cake, this is how you do it? What are the most important things for you to make that happen?
Irrigation.
Do you irrigate your vines all the time?
Yes, but very scientifically. So you are able to manipulate berry size, cell growth enlargement, and also take out heat stress or try and combat heat stress with irrigation.
Because you don't want them to close down like that.
So irrigation is extremely important. Then one of the best books I've ever read is Sunlight into Wine, old Richard Smart's book. He's a genius.
He is a genius.
And we call it canopy management.
Yeah.
But
for me, that's hugely important.
Manipulating the foliage to give the exactly right amount of sunlight exposure to the grapes, really important. And then hang time. Everybody always talks about hang time without actually knowing what they're talking about.
The whole thing sounds dreadful. It sounds like an aging old man, you know.
But to me, I'll try and keep it short. But from, let's say, fruit set to ideal harvest time, which is at a certain sugar level, because you don't want the alcohol
to be too high.
It's a very specific window period.
Well, it's your phenolics that happen, isn't it?
Yes.
It's magic. You have to perform magic in the vineyard.
But if you don't manipulate and farm the vine correctly, you can shorten your ripening period. Stress factors, the vine shuts down. And it's not working at its full potential during the day.
Doesn't ripen properly. You end up with stuff with too much acid, not enough
too dense canopy. Not all your leaves are photosynthesizing 100%. So all those little factors influence the window period you have to ripen your grapes properly, proper fruit development, proper tannin ripeness, and then preventing the sugar from skyrocketing and that ripeness staying lagging behind. So if you can, in my opinion, manage that and then be able to pick the grapes at a proper sugar level with that phenolic ripeness.
And I suppose you've worked, after 13 years or whatever at Quoin Rock, you've got a pretty much optimum recipe for harvesting, so you know what your barreling should be, what your brick should be for Cabernet, given the kind of ripening period that you've had, hey?
Yeah, I do...
So it's like algorithms that you sort of put together for your vineyards.
I have the recipe, but there's a reason why it's Mother Nature. Because Mother Nature tends to like to throw the odd curveball.
Oh, tantrums in the vineyard.
Constantly.
Yes.
So the challenge is to keep to the recipe by managing all
with a bottle of Valium at the side, so that when she throws the tantrum.
Exactly. Because you've just fixed your canopy beautifully. Foliage, leaves,
and you get a hailstorm.
Or the wind whacks everything and tears everything apart, and then you have to go fix it again. Heat wave. So you have the recipe, but then you have to contend with all the variables.
Well, like we said earlier, I think people tend to forget that it is actually farming at the end of the day.
Yes.
And it's like sometimes a mealie farmer gets a missus, and then it's just a missus. But the wine farmer is never allowed, and for people who don't understand Afrikaans, missus is a no harvest. It's like a whoops harvest. We missed that harvest. In the wine world, you're not really allowed to have a missus, are you? You just have to fix it in the cellar. And that's the biggest cock-up ever.
The consumer is actually surprisingly unforgiving. If you don't... and I like the consumer for that, because I like a fan of Quoin Rock. But that person has certain expectations. Every vintage, the wine must taste in a certain way. So to constantly,
Yes.
with vintage variation, produce a product that meets expectations is quite a challenge.
It's fabulous in a world now of instant gratification and so much choice to imbue loyalty, I think, in your client. It's the only way you can do it is by maintaining a specific consistency of quality every single year.
You have to.
I mean, if I buy Rolls Royce, I know what I'm getting.
Yes.
If I buy a Volkswagen Beetle, I know what I'm getting.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to try and do in the wine industry as well.
Yeah.
So on to this festive, because I know that I have not got a huge amount more time with you. And I have to tell everybody about festive. It's being launched. This is where I actually need Christopher, who's sitting over on the other side there. And we should have got him to come and talk to us.
I know, we should have.
But Dennis and Julia have launched this with great pride and great gusto, and I think the packaging is exquisite, as is all the packaging. Just for everybody's edification, Julia is an architect and she does everything too beautifully. It's a fabulous packaging to look at. It's classy.
It is classy.
I haven't tasted it, but I'm knowing the whole Quoin Rock outfit, I'm sure that it tastes very nice as well. I'll tell you in due course what it tastes like. I think it's retailing at around about $3.50
Yes.
a bottle.
Yes.
Is it $3.50 odd a bottle? I think it's delicious. The proper MCC. It's not a Chamant. It's not a Prosecco. It's not a.
It goes through the proper treatment.
Yes, proper method.
Yes.
Cup Classique.
Yeah.
Is that what it's still called, or just Cup Classique? I can't remember now. But it's sparkling wine from South Africa, made in the proper French traditional way.
Yes.
It's called festive. It's just hit the streets, and you really do need to, I think, have it for Christmas. Have it on your Christmas table. It's festive. It's gorgeous.
New Year's.
Nice praisies as well.
The Dennis and Julia has a real love and taste for MCC.
Yes.
And that's where we discovered when we bought the property. We bought the cellar with the wine stock as well.
Yes.
And we just discovered this really phenomenal MCC in the cellar. And the light bulb went on and Dennis decided...
Put you all under a bit of pressure.
We're going to carry on with this. I was the skeptic.
Yes.
But they did convince me. And we make some really, really serious MCCs.
You've got some vintages as well, hey?
Exactly. 7 years on the lease.
Yeah.
That's the big guns. And then because we make such a really good MCC, the idea was to make an MCC that's more approachable, more accessible.
Yeah. And that's what festive is.
And that's the festive. And that's why it has the name.
Okay. It's a nice name. It's fun.
It is fun. And the idea is not to just have it. It must, if you like MCC, it's your daily drink. That's the idea.
All those madames in France.
Exactly.
Bollinger,
Exactly.
Clicquot,
Yes.
Bilcar Salmon. All of those, all women. You must drink bubbles, girls. They say drink bubbles if you're on diet. Low sugar, low alcohol generally. It's a diet drink, really. It's way less. Weight Watchers approved.
It keeps you young. MCC keeps
Well,
you
listen,
young.
wine keeps you young.
It's a preservative.
You know what? Wine makes you think you're young, which is wonderful. It's the biggest lie of all time, but you do feel young while you're drinking it.
Exactly.
Tell me something. So we were looking at your 5-year plan. Your 5-year plan is to have your sort of sophisticated, untouchables, beautiful, sleek, chic, gorgeous Quoin Rock, and then your hugely Stellenbosch, super Stellenbosch, quality-driven, punches way above its weight, well-priced Quoin Rock. And you're going to keep those two labels separate like that, I hope.
Yeah.
If we can get it right tonight, guys, Nico and I are going to convince Dennis and the rest of the team that we want a sticky wine from, the little bit of that Chenin vineyard on Quoin Rock.
You're giving me a lot of work, but
That's
it's a good idea.
That's what we're going to do. And
I like it.
And if you've got some spare cash for Christmas this year, when you go and purchase the bottle of Quoin Rock Chenin, in fact, purchase a bottle of everything, a Festive, a Chenin, a Cab, that Simonsberg blend that you make from Quoin Rock is just delicious. It's really lovely. Have a bottle of that. Get some bubbles, Festive definitely for Christmas time, but then do yourself the biggest favor of all and buy yourself a bottle of the existing sweet dessert wine from Quoin Rock. Tell us quickly about that dessert wine, because you make that, don't you?
Yes.
How do you make it?
Interesting. We spoke about Chenin being able to be dried on straw, things like that. Sauvignon Blanc can't. It just rots. Skin is just not right for it. So what we do is we dry it on the vine.
I was going to say, do you wind dry it? Do you desiccate?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I send the team through with these, what do you call a langbeck tangetjie? You can almost do like rakkies, like we do on the farm with the plain billikies. You know, you put like elastic bands around it and strangle the xylem and phloem. With those
you
little
pinch
pliers.
The xylem and phloem.
Yes. So the stem is each individual grape is pinched, and then technically you've already touched every bunch. Then we have to do a follow-up.
And then you leave it to hang there and wind dry for how long?
The timing of when we pinch has a lot to do with the acidity level at that stage.
So you test for acid. What's your optimum acid when you desiccate? I want to
preserve the acid. So you want a nice at least 10 acid still in.
So guys, what we're actually telling you here, the two of us are being sort of viticultural wankers here, but what we're actually talking to you about is that if you have a stem of a bunch of grapes like that, and inside the stem there's one tube for food and one tube for water, and Nico goes along with his pair of long-nosed pliers and he just snips the stem.
Yes.
So he squeezes off the blood supply, so there's no more heart and lungs happening here. So this bunch of grapes is just going to hang on the vine and it's going to dry up. It's going to shrivel up.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that you have to have the right acid and sugar levels.
Yes. So sugar increases as the moisture goes out of the berries, but you preserve the acid because with a sweet wine, the idea is that it must be sweet, coat your tongue, and then that acid must just wipe it clean and not have that clingy,
cloying.
Yeah.
So now you get when you pick it, what's the sugar count when you pick?
It's about 38, 36,
okay, so it's
38.
Not wild.
No.
For sticky wine, it's not wildly sweet.
No.
So you got 38 and your acid is still round about 8, 9?
Yes. Hopefully we
So you cut them all 8. And then what do you do with them? You cut them all off and you take them to the cellar and?
Unfortunately, they don't ripen at exactly the same time. So I walk through the vineyard and we only selectively pick the bunches that are ready for us, leave the rest, and then when they are ready, come through again. Intensive. So it's very labor intensive, lots of focus. And what I did not say is, because you want a lot of sunshine on the grapes, you have to open up the canopy even more, break out all the leaves in the bunch zone as well. So really, really a lot of work. And that's why it's in a small little bottle.
And so then, worse still, after we've done all of that, you get back into the cellar and you got all these bunches of raisins or sultanas. Can you imagine, girls and boys, trying to squeeze a sultana in your kitchen to get sultana juice? It's not easy. It's not easy. So it is the most unbelievable labor of love. It's one of my favorite wines. It's misunderstood. We make fabulous sweet wine in South Africa.
We do.
and the price is, it's just not commensurate with the labor and the love that goes into the actual making of the wine. But it is an extraordinary thing to have at Christmas time. If you're having Christmas puddings, I know nobody wants to eat Christmas pudding anymore. So at my house, I put Kruger Rands into the Christmas pudding. It's the only way I can get everybody to have a piece of Christmas pudding. But a glass of that sticky wine with a Christmas pudding and some brandy butter is absolutely to
stunning.
Die for.
Yeah.
So when you go off to the shop after listening to this podcast, get yourself definitely a bottle of the Quoin Rock. It's not Noble Late, hey?
No.
So what do you call it?
Vine-dried Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Honesty. I'm not joking. You won't be sorry. Buy it for yourself for Christmas and buy everybody you know a bottle for Christmas. And you'll have one of the happiest Christmases you've ever had. So have that. So we've got Quoin Rock, which is sliding in the direction of sophisticated, higher priced, from the most beautiful space in Stellenbosch. And then we've got Knorr. There's everything. There's something for everybody out of Knorr and Quoin Rock. And it's guided by this absolutely delightful viticulturalist, who I've called Willem the whole day, and he's not Willem or Walter. He's actually Nico Walters. Nico, what's your favorite? What's your death row meal? I'm executing you tomorrow. What am I cooking you tonight?
You are going to give me some foie gras.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Yes. In pate form or in...
No.
Okay.
The
in
real
liver
deal.
form, right? I'm with you.
And then I would like some quail.
A roasted quail?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I will have a proper piece of steak.
Because Afrikaners think that quail and chicken is actually vegetables. They don't.
No, for sure. I'm still getting to the main dish. And then I'm going to round it off with a proper trifle made like in the old days, a proper
with
bazaar
jelly
pudding.
And custard and cake and sherry. And I'm making one of those for Christmas.
That's one of my favorites. I go to church bazaars just for that.
Just for the trifle?
Yeah, for sure.
I would do the same. Okay, and then what are you going to drink with it? They got one shot. You're allowed one wine.
Only one wine.
Only one wine. Well, tell my listeners, what are you going to drink?
I'm going to have my Knorr Cabernet.
You are. Now I know I love you. It's a good choice. Are you happily married with children?
Happily married with children.
How old are they?
24 and going on 21 now.
Brilliant.
So both at university, so I'm bankrupt at the moment.
Yes, of course. And any of them going to be winemakers or viticulturists?
No, unfortunately, or fortunately not, depending on...
Oh, no, it's a gorgeous world. How lucky and happy have we been in our lives to be what we are?
Made my career choice later in life, but won't look back.
Ever.
Well,
you've done an amazing job. The wines are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with me.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Do you know what, Cal? How are we going to do this? We're going to have a something somewhere that somebody can contact Quoin Rock if they need to. Christopher's name needs to be somewhere on this. Can you do that, Callum? Because I really am serious. I'm not just blowing smoke. I would love you all to be drinking Quoin Rock and Knorr for Christmas time. And if I don't I think I've got one more podcast left before Christmas. So I'm not going to say Happy Christmas. Not now. But thanks for joining us. Nico, thank you so much for coming in. I know that your time is a bit short.
It was an absolute pleasure.
It was lovely chatting to you.
It was. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Another production from Solid Gold Podcasts.